Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Always excited to explore something new. What do you have for us today?
Well, this time I thought we could take a look at this article I found. It's called Unlocking Power, the Science and Practice of Breath Control.
Interesting title. What's the main idea?
It's all about how we breathe, or really how we're supposed to breathe.
Okay, I'm intrigued. We all breathe, right? What's so special about it?
That's exactly what I thought, but the article dives into how most of us are doing it wrong,
Really? Like we're not breathing correctly.
apparently.
Yeah.
And it claims that can really drain our energy, like a hidden drain.
Huh. I never thought about it like that.
Right. And it got me thinking, we take something like 20,000 breaths a day.
Wow, 20,000, that's a lot.
And if we're doing it wrong all that time, no wonder we feel tired.
Okay, you definitely got my attention. So what does the article say about how we should be breathing?
Well, it starts by talking about how common it is to breathe improperly. Did you realize that?
Now that you mention it, I can see how we don't really pay attention to it. It's just automatic.
Exactly. And the article highlights how that impacts both our body and our mind.
It makes sense when you think about it. Our breath is literally keeping us alive.
Right. But how does wrong breathing actually affect us? What's happening in our bodies?
Okay, so imagine you're stressed out, maybe facing a big deadline or stuck in traffic.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
Right. So what happens? You start taking these short, quick breaths, right?
Yeah, I can definitely feel my chest tightening up.
That's your body's natural stress response. But here's the thing. That type of breathing actually limits how much oxygen you take in.
Really? I always thought breathing faster meant getting more oxygen, not less.
Yeah, it's a common misunderstanding, but slower, deeper breaths actually allow us to absorb more oxygen, up to 15% more, according to some studies.
15%. Okay, that's significant, but how does that work?
Well, think about it like sipping a drink versus gulping it down. You actually take in more when you savor it.
Ah, that's a great analogy. Slow and steady wins the oxygen race.
Exactly. And when we breathe deeply, we engage our diaphragm, which helps pull more air into our lungs.
So it's not just about breathing more often, it's about breathing more effectively.
Precisely. And the article suggests a simple way to start retraining your breath. Inhale for 4 seconds, then exhale for 6.
Okay, that sounds easy enough. 4 in, 6 out.
Right. It might feel a bit weird at first, but with practice, it becomes second nature.
I'm already feeling a bit calmer just thinking about it. But the article also mentioned something that really surprised me. It said that even when we're not in actual danger, like when we're just stressed about work or something, our bodies still react as if we are.
Yeah, it's like our bodies haven't quite caught up with the fact that we're not running from saber-toothed tigers anymore.
So my body freaks out over a traffic jam the same way it would if I was facing a lion. That seems a bit excessive.
Well, from a physiological perspective, it makes sense. We're wired for survival, and those stress hormones kick in regardless of the cause of the stress.
Okay, I see the logic, but if my body can't tell the difference between a deadline and a predator, how do we help it chill out?
That's where the conscious control of your breath comes in. By slowing down your breathing, you activate the vagus nerve. It's like a built-in chill button for your nervous system.
So deep breathing is basically the antidote to our modern-day stress epidemic.
You could say that. It helps signal to your body that you're safe and there's no need to panic.
Okay, I'm definitely on board with that. We've talked a lot about inhaling, but what about exhaling? Does that matter as much?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, the exhale might be even more important.
Yeah, it's how so.
When we don't fully exhale, we're holding on to stale air in our lungs.
Like clutter in our lungs.
Exactly. And that leftover carbon dioxide actually prevents us from absorbing fresh oxygen as efficiently.
So it's like trying to fill a glass that's already half full. You need to empty it out first.
Precisely. A full exhale is like hitting the reset button for your lungs, clearing out the old to make space for the new.
I never thought about it like that before. So we need to pay attention to both the inhale and the exhale.
Absolutely. And this idea of the exhale as a cleansing force is something that's found in many ancient traditions too, like yoga and Taoism.
Oh, interesting. What do those traditions say about it?
Well, they see breath as more than just air. It's prana or chi, a life force energy.
Like the breath is carrying something more than just oxygen.
Exactly. And a full exhale is seen as releasing stagnant energy, making way for vitality and mental clarity.
That reminds me of something I read in the Emerald Tablets. It talks about breath as this inner fire that needs to be kept burning.
It's amazing how these ancient ideas connect with modern science, isn't it?
It really is. So if we move on from the physical aspects of breathing, the article also dives into the connection between our breathing rhythm and our mental focus. I found that fascinating.
Me too. It turns out those two are way more connected than we might realize.
Yeah, I've heard about athletes and musicians using breath control to get into the zone. Is that what we're talking about here?
Exactly. The article mentions research from Trinity College Dublin that found a direct link between breathing rhythm and our attention cycles.
Wow, so our breath can actually affect how our brain works.
It can. Basically, rapid, shallow breathing leads to scattered thinking, while slow, deep breathing helps with focus and clarity.
So if I want to concentrate better, I just need to slow down my breathing.
It's not quite that simple, but it's a big part of it. Think of it like this. Your breath can actually synchronize your brainwaves, helping you get into that flow state.
Okay, now that's something I definitely want to learn more about.
Yeah.
But the article also mentioned a specific rhythm, something about 9 breaths per minute.
Yes. That rhythm seems to be particularly effective for achieving that calm focus.
9 breaths per minute. That seems incredibly slow. Is that even possible?
It might sound challenging, but it's more attainable than you think, and the benefits are worth it.
Like what kind of benefits?
Well, studies have shown that breathing at that rhythm increases alpha brainwaves, which are associated with calm focus.
Alpha brainwaves, those are the ones that athletes and meditators tap into, right?
Exactly. It's the brainwave state often linked to peak performance.
Wow, so I could potentially breathe my way into being a better athlete? Sign me up.
Uh-huh. Well, it's not a magic bullet, but it can definitely help with focus and performance.
I'm sold. But wait, there was something else about how this breathing rhythm can influence the heart's electromagnetic field.
Oh, yes. That's another fascinating aspect. It turns out our hearts have a powerful electromagnetic field that extends beyond our bodies.
Hold on, I thought that was just a new age concept.
Nope, it's scientifically measurable. And get this, your breath can actually influence that field.
So how did that work?
Breathing at that 9 breaths per minute rhythm creates coherence in your heart's electromagnetic field. It's like tuning your heart's energy with your breath.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. So if our hearts are radiating energy and our breath can influence that, does that mean our breath can impact the energy of others around us?
Now, that's a fascinating question, isn't it? And there's some evidence to suggest it might be possible. Have you ever noticed how couples who are really in sync often seem to be on the same wavelength?
Yeah, like they finish each other's sentences
Yeah.
and know what the other's thinking.
Exactly. Well, research has shown that people who are in harmony with each other often subconsciously synchronize their breathing patterns.
You're kidding. So they're literally breathing in unison.
It seems so. It's like their breath falls into a shared rhythm.
Wow. So we're not just talking about metaphorical connection here, but actual physical synchronization of our breath.
It really highlights the interconnected nature of our existence, doesn't it? And it raises some intriguing questions.
So it's not just a figure of speech. When people are in sync, they might actually be breathing together.
It really seems that way.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what would happen if we did that intentionally, if we consciously synchronized our breath with others.
Right. Could we create some kind of collective energy, like a shared power?
It's an intriguing possibility. And there's actually growing research on the power of breathwork for groups, not just individuals.
Oh, wow. For like group healing or something.
Yeah, for healing, for connection, even for boosting creativity and problem solving.
That's incredible. Okay, but let's back up for a second. Say someone is listening to all this and thinking, okay, I'm ready to try this breathwork thing. Where do they even begin?
Well, the good news is it's really simple to get started. The article we've been discussing actually outlines a basic breathing exercise. Remember that 4-second inhale, 6-second exhale we talked about?
Right, the one that helps with focus.
Exactly. Just find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and focus on your breath.
Sounds easy enough, but what if my mind starts to wander? That happens to me all the time when I try to meditate.
Oh, that's totally normal. Don't get discouraged if your mind wanders. Just gently guide your attention back to your breath.
Okay, no judgment if I get distracted.
No judgment at all. It's all about practice.
And what if someone wants to try something more than that basic exercise?
There's a whole world of breathwork practices out there. You could look into yogic pranayama or try some of the modern breathwork techniques that are becoming popular.
Wow, so many options.
Yeah.
Are there any specific ones you'd recommend for someone just starting out?
Well, one that I find really helpful for coming down and focusing is called box breathing.
Box breathing, what's that?
It's pretty simple. You inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for 4, exhale for 4, then hold the exhale for 4.
So it's like a square, 4 sides?
Exactly. It's a great way to create a rhythm and find balance in your breathing.
4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. I like it. Easy to remember.
Yeah.
What about resources? Are there any books or teachers you'd recommend for people who want to dive deeper into breath work?
Oh, tons. One book that comes to mind is Breath by James Nestor. It's a really fascinating exploration of the science and history of breathing.
Okay, we'll have to check that out. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
For me, the most important thing is realizing that you have this incredible power within you to change your state of being, to find more energy and focus, to connect more deeply with yourself and the world around you.
And that power is accessible through something as simple as our breath.
Exactly. It's a reminder that we don't have to be passive bystanders in our own lives. We can actively shape our experience, starting with our breath.
I love that. It's so empowering. It's like we've been given this amazing gift, this built-in superpower, and most of us aren't even using it.
Absolutely. And the more we learn about breath work, the more we realize just how much potential it holds for ourselves and for the world.
It's amazing to think that something we usually do without even thinking about it could have such a profound impact on our lives.
I know, right? It really makes you appreciate the complexity of the human body.
We've covered so much in this deep dive,
Mm.
from the science of breathing to these ancient traditions that see breath as a life force energy.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
So for someone who's feeling inspired by all this and wants to start exploring breathwork, where would you recommend they begin?
Well, I think the simplest and most accessible way to start is with that 4-second inhale, 6-second exhale exercise from the article.
Right, the one we talked about earlier that helps calm the nervous system and improve focus.
Exactly. It's something you can do anywhere, anytime, no special equipment or training required.
I like that. It seems a lot less intimidating than trying to learn some complex meditation technique.
Yeah, it's a great entry point. And as you get more comfortable with that, you can always explore further. There are so many different breathwork practices out there.
Do you have any personal favorites or any that you'd recommend for beginners?
Let me see. Well, one that I find particularly helpful is called box breathing.
Box breathing. I don't think I've heard of that one.
It's a simple technique where you inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold the exhale for 4.
Oh, okay. So it's like a square, four equal sides.
Exactly. It's a great way to create a sense of rhythm and balance in your breath.
4 inch, four hold, four out, four hold. I like it. Sounds easy enough to remember.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward and very effective for calming the nervous system.
What about resources? Are there any books or teachers that you recommend for people who want to dive deeper into this?
There are so many wonderful resources out there. One book that comes to mind is Breath by James Nestor.
I think I've heard of that one. Isn't it about the science and history of breathing?
Yes, it's a fascinating exploration of the topic, and he also includes a lot of different breathing techniques to try.
Okay, we'll definitely have to check that out. So as we wrap up this incredible deep dive, what's the one message you want our listeners to take away?
At the end of the day, I think the most important thing is to remember that you have the power to change your life, to shift your state of being, to tap into greater energy and focus, and to connect more deeply with yourself and the world around you.
And that power is accessible through something as simple and fundamental as our breath.
Precisely. It's a reminder that we don't have to be passive bystanders in our own lives. We have agency, we have tools, and our breath is one of the most powerful tools we have.
I love that. It's such an empowering message, and it's really inspiring to think that we can create such profound change through something as simple as breathing.
Absolutely. And I think the more we explore breath work, the more we realize just how much potential it holds, both for ourselves and for the world.
Well said. It's been an incredible journey exploring this topic with you. Thanks for sharing your insights.
It's been my pleasure. Always a joy to delve into these fascinating subjects.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the power of breath. Remember, with every breath you take, you have the opportunity to create a more vibrant, joyful, and connected life. Until next time, keep exploring, keep breathing, and keep unlocking your own unique power.